I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quite so thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
I'm built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah. I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep 'em out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah. Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it. Go on and take your aim. I'm built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
When we get to the FBI, we don't know who did the work. You heard that any of that information is redacted. We don't know who did the work. It's a giant secret. We know that by the time the FBI gets involved, the profile, the text file, that's a snip to use to try to identify somebody is more than twice as big when it gets to the FBI from Othram. We don't know how.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
What is going on, Hive? I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. And I would buckle up because we are going to rip the absolute shit out of this trial by media tonight. I got Lana backstage from Truth and Transparency extremely excited to have her into the Hive. I know you all are as well. And I will be bringing her up shortly. And we have quite a bit to get into this evening. But first, as always, I'm going to give a quick disclaimer. If you're new here, welcome to the Hive. This is a contrarian thinking live stream where we are not afraid to think past the headlines. So if you are rattled or offended on behalf of others rather easily, this is probably not going to be the stream for you. But if you are maybe known as the conspiracy theorist in your friend group and you like to look into what the mainstream media might be covering up to protect those powerful individuals at the top, well, you have found your people and you are amongst friends, and welcome. So let's see who's all tuning in this evening. We got Luna Bliss. Shout out to my mod. Sherry Days here. Gemini 65. Veronica Vaughn says she is the best. Yes. Tiny says best on YouTube. What's going on? KS Jess and Art. ADHD Stacy is here. LR. What's going on? April in Texas. Bandit Birdie. I like it. I like the username. Have no idea if that has to do with the Hive or anything, but I still like it. War Eagle. I love it. Brooke, good to see you. Dino in the hizzy for shizzy. Karen Duncan's here. Melanie Carroll. Nicola. Robin Lynn. Shout out to my mod and also the inspiration for me to start my Substack, which I did not get that out again today. I took the day off yesterday for Labor Day, and in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's Tuesday. I don't have to do it. So I will probably just pick that back up Thursday at this point. So Discord Dawn, I just saw your name and then it flew by. But shout out to you as well, holding the Discord Dawn or Discord down. Discord Dawn is holding the Discord down. Say that 5 times fast. Discord Queen Dawn, I think is what we were going to call it after last night. Core, what's going on? Freckled Gemini, how are you? Tinfoil Hat Claire, Jay's in Copenhagen. Where's everybody tuning in from? Sue from South Africa's here. Good to see you. Samantha's got to get up in 4 hours. Man, I wonder what time zone that is. Well, thank you for staying up and hanging out. So fucking crazy. I love it. That's a cool way to spell that username. We got Nurtured in Central Texas. Brandon's in Dallas, Texas. Crowns in the house is Gang Gang at Lift G. Wonders Deeps in Bama. Was it you that had the lemur or the lemur? In the Hive Pets, someone's got a lemur and they're like, it's legal in Alabama. It's interesting. South Carolina. Detective Mowry, shame on you. You can't be tuning in for my mom. North Carolina, Knoxville, Tennessee. UK Karen's here. Prosper, Texas. H-Town. Vero Beach, Florida. Phoenix is in LA this week. Northern Earth, South Carolina, Omaha, Nebraska, North Carolina, Wisconsin/Minnesota, Indiana, Maryland, Pacific Northwest, Minnesota, and Euphorics in an FBI van down by the river. So that is a great one to end on. And Hive, this evening's stream is rather straightforward. We have witnessed a case study, is how I would call it, on what a trial by media looks like, where evidence is irrelevant and the only thing that matters is the narrative. Whether you think that Brian Koberger is guilty or not, I would say that if you had a reasonable thinking brain, you could at least understand that this airtight or so-called airtight case was nothing more than a narrative that was held together by shoddy police work and duct tape at this point. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring up Miss Lana here, and let's get her into the Hive.
Oh,
Ochi, how are you doing?
great. Thank you for having me, Birdie.
I'm very excited to have you here. And I know I was over on your show a couple months ago, and we talked about this. So I'm glad that we finally were able to get this done.
Has it been that long?
Maybe a month and a half.
There you go. I don't even know.
Oh, I know we were drinking Fireball.
That's probably why we don't know.
Oh, that was fun. So, Lana, I'm not sure how much you do tune into the Hive. I was kind of talking to you backstage about how the stream is structured, but usually I start with the theme. And in general, what are your thoughts on the Idaho 4 case with the media? It's a rather straightforward, simple question, but what are your thoughts on it when it started? What are your thoughts on it today?
Well, first of all, my first thought on the media is they get a lot of it wrong, regardless if you're this way, that way, doesn't matter. They have people that are guests on their channels that are absolutely clueless about the case as far as Idaho 4 that I've seen. That's one of the things I noticed. They've, I mean, this is a case that there was a huge leak, not just once, but multiple times. And that leak came from somewhere, and there is still a special prosecution going on right now, or a special prosecutor that was assigned, and it's still being investigated. So there was a leak to mainstream media, and it's going back and forth. Well, the prosecution is saying it was, the defense is saying it was the prosecution. We all know that there's been a leak before there was ever even a defendant. So I would put all my chips on the prosecution side that's where the leak is.
I don't disagree with that. I was thinking at one point when Steve G was doing the media tour, I was trying to think through what would be the benefit of having it come from a victim's parent. And I thought about the narrative, as I typically do. And it's like, let's say that leak would have done something to mess up the trial. It would have been a mistrial. Who knows what it would have caused? When that got into the news, if it was anybody but a victim's parent, right? Like, you would put a lot of blame on it, but I think that was maybe a safeguard at one point, or at least that was the thought that I had going through my head, where it's like, you can't blame the victim's parent for trying to spread the word on certain things that they don't feel like are being investigated properly, or maybe they think that this is actually what's happening. And I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but that was why I thought Steve G was doing all that.
See, actually, my take on it is, if you go back and look at the records, Steve G and Shannon Gray basically went off on Bill Thompson back in January of 2023, and they were adamant that the prosecution had a leak and they wanted to get in front of it back then. Like, hey,
they were adamant.
Yeah, Steve G and Shannon Gray called out Bill Thompson. It's in writing. It's in the paperwork.
Wow.
So they because they were adamant of trying to keep the trial in Moscow, and so it was like Steve G and Shannon Gray were like, "You're gaslighting us," okay? And so I think that they basically called them out and had that meeting, and then the meeting minutes got let out, and I think that's where actually the tension really strongly came from, pitting some parents against each other, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. It is definitely a high profile case that you do not see families really publicly buying together, and I don't think privately they were either, from the sounds of it.
I think that has a lot to do with the leadership, though. That should by reading these reports and saying, hey, you're going to be given the death notice here, or you're going to be going over there and doing this, and I mean, these parents were never brought together to talk to at the same time. And I get it at first, maybe if you're trying to figure out, okay, did one of the parents have anything to do with this? But once you kind of get past that, I just think that how you could never, as an investigator, you want to be able to have the trust of the families. And so if you don't have the trust of the families, I mean, what are you doing?
Well, that's exactly right. You're cooked at that point if the families don't trust you. And we're going to be getting into this evening, Hive. And if you are not a part of the Hive, here's how you join it. You go to my YouTube channel, you press subscribe, turn your alerts on. I also have birdiebombshell.com, TikTok, Discord, Substack that I post 2 articles a week on. And as of late, in addition to Robin inspiring me to start my Substack, she last week started a Facebook page and group as well as an Instagram. However,
look at you.
Yeah. However, when it comes to the Hive Mind finds and the Discord question of the day, when you download Discord, and you're going to see this link when you press 6 more links, make sure that you have the app downloaded on your phone from the Google Play Store or the App Store first. Then there's a brief verification process. I'm going to be eventually putting that on stream for you all to just screenshot. It's really easy, but the Discord's been popping off. It's awesome. And then Lana if you want to, or Lana, damn it,
Look
Lana
at
banana,
that.
Lana banana.
Oh,
banana,
you're good.
banana. Sorry, no, people were coming at me, not actually, but they were like, you can't call her Lana, it's Lana, and I'm so sorry about that. So
You're
I made
good,
you this
shit.
page to tell people where they can find you.
Look at that cool thing. I told you that backstage. I was like, oh, that's really cute.
So actually, there's a member of the Hive, UFO Dog, is super talented with art. So this came from UFO Dog.
I fucking love it.
And then I just
Whoever,
kind of
yeah,
pieced it
that
all
was
together.
so sweet. Whoever did that, like,
Yeah, she's great.
that's awesome. So cheers, kudos, thank you. All right, can I use that?
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem sending you the PDF.
I want to give you a shout out. Whoever made that, that's sweet.
It is badass. The colors.
Yeah, it is.
So
Yeah.
I see you got a website up, and I just saw you were posting about merch.
And actually, it's funny that you have to like put that up there because I actually have to change a couple things, but that's what reminded me. So yeah, just come on over to my YouTube channel. We're in the process of doing new merch and a little something special with for those that like shorter videos. I'm clipping all my stuff from the Idaho 4K, so I'm in the process of doing that and putting it out with like each report that it talks about.
That's a great idea. You already you've already made it. You just gotta flip it. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine.
It's a project, but
dude,
it's gonna be sweet.
I didn't know that you were on Worldly News, News Nation, NBC, and set. That's awesome. That's great.
Well, yeah, they used all my stuff. Well, some of the Sheldon Jeter Jr. stuff I was on for NBC. That was back in 2021, and then when I broke all the body cam stuff out for the house, they put the wrong address down, and your girl figured that shit out, and that's how I was able to get body cam of the parties.
That's
That's awesome.
So
then they used all my stuff. So I got to say that I was a source, you know, when they're putting up your shit, you're a source.
A source that is real and exists. It's not just like some phantom witness that happens.
Puts in the work, man.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the Discord question of the day. Cool. So, Lana, what usually we have is somebody submits a question of the day, and today's comes from Chaos Quinn 81. They actually referenced. I picked this one because they referenced you had a post out, and so this is a screenshot that you had of Dylan, who had said, "Well, first off, we heard Xana and Ethan." This is going back to the beginning.
Yeah, could I tell you something about that screenshot though?
Yeah.
The reason I put that out there is because Maury did a so Olivia Gonsalves in the beginning, a couple days into the murder investigation, they had sent Maury some screenshots that they said that they thought Dylan had posted these. And so Maury then went and put a preserve on a couple different accounts. It's in the reports. And so I had asked my crew, hey, do you guys remember that post from back in the day where the name was Dylan and everybody wondered if it was, true or not? So we believe that this is not a real account. But I'm like, if anybody can get to the bottom of whose account this was, and if it was preserved, you should know whose account, it was. But he preserved 4 accounts, Maury did. So that's where that's from, just so you know. We don't know if I should say this, it's never been confirmed it's like hers or not, but what's actually in there is kind of wild, but
it is wild. And that's actually what the question is about, which is what's Dylan's real room? We still don't have that answer. Why cut the sound? And I have a clip here. What did Dylan actually say? To me, it sounds like Dylan is arguing with someone from the group in this clip. And I'll go ahead and play this. And it is interesting because it is right around when the room gets mentioned. So here it is.
I was trying to go to bed and I heard Kaylee, who, ex-girlfriend, who has a dog in her.
Real fast, which one is your room?
Kaylee.
Which one is your room?
Oh.
What room are you in?
They redacted that?
Yeah. And I don't think the rest of it's muted.
You were in that room?
My room, not Xana's room. My room.
And your room is this one right here?
Next to the stairs. That one, Xana's room.
Second floor room.
Second floor.
Okay.
We'll be able to get that unredacted.
All I heard was I heard go upstairs. Like, okay.
What'd you say?
I said we'll be able to get that unredacted for the record.
Yeah.
They were being extra cautious when they first put this out, so I made a mental note now that you just played that we'll be able to talk to Moscow and get that. Actually, that should not be redacted.
It's a little bit interesting though, but so for as much as people will say that Birdie is just this tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist, right? I mean, I think maybe people don't say that about me. I'm joking. I obviously am aware of it, but I can't help it, Hive. That is who I am. And when I look at this, though,
with that.
What's that?
I said I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think
No.
what makes you you is that you're you, but it's how you talk about something that like you own what you're talking about. That's what's great about it. It's like, hey, we are talking about it in this kind of like light, you know. You're not trying to make it something that it's not, which then that's where it gets weird. And that's why I love it. Like it's authentic.
Yes, it's authentic. It's a conversation. And then I'm always showing my screen, but I look at this, and if anybody's ever wondering like a blueprint of how a conspiracy could start, well, you have what's an unknown verified account of a alleged victim saying that this where she was sleeping and what was going on is way different than what's been publicly reported. And then in the body cam footage, they have that redacted. So it's like, it's at least somebody who's wired like me and people in the Hive, like that could absolutely be basis to start it. But then if they would have just released it unredacted, you'd be like, well, it's probably a fake tweet or whatever post that is. And it's not that they're trying to hide it. So you can kind of see how it goes from A to B rather quickly.
Yeah. I said, I just want to know who sent it to. So I always like to know who's the source of the source. So check this out. Who sent that to Olivia? You know what I'm saying?
Question. That's a great
That's
question.
how you find out a bunch of stuff. Like, you know, when someone sends you something in like your DMs or like your, you know, your email, and they're like, oh my God, you need to go check this out. So-and-so said something about you. And then you go to this wild account that has like 2 subscribers. They just posted a video 2 minutes ago. And you're like, yeah, it's yours. Like, how could you have found that? Like,
right. Exactly.
So it's funny that over the years now I've learned how to be, I think, a professional. I got this. They call it gaydar, but I call it like trolldar.
Trolldar.
Yeah, I can find the trolls.
Can I steal that for a sign that I make? Like I'm gonna put a sign on stream of like trolldar.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
Get a meter going, man.
And wait till you hear the tinfoil hat conspiracy of the day that I have at the end of the stream for you, because I try to pick one that I'm like, okay, what's one that I could see being applicable to you, and it's not just like they like last night I was saying that all the LED lights that turned blue really weren't a defect, and they're just scanning your body to see if it's some sort of facial recognition for Palantir. But I digress. So now let's get into some Hive Mind finds here. This first one comes from Cat's Mojo, and they said, found this interesting poll on Reddit, and somebody had posted, has your opinion of BK changed since the documents and body cam footage were released? A lot of people still said no. However, there were some comments, and I don't have to read all of them, but I just thought to myself, what a weird full circle moment that people are asking on Reddit in a survey what people think about a certain situation. I got BK down here with his thumb up saying Reddit surveys. Like, try to tell you guys this is an effective way.
Well, it's funny. A kid that's posting about on Reddit, and then now all of a sudden he's being surveyed on Reddit.
It's actually quite remarkable, isn't it? And I thought it was interesting.
What's the percentage there?
It's so it was like 197 total votes. 50% said yes, it has changed. 113 said no. 34 said a little. So it's maybe 40, 60 that something's changed in their head, and 113 that apparently probably have no idea what they're talking about. But their thoughts, I thought Coffee Light.
I don't even know. I have zero thoughts on Brian Kober. Like,
yeah,
you know, you look at the victims and they have all this social media out there. I feel like, dude, I was like partying with them, you know, when you saw the party videos, and you've gotten to see like their families, and their families have like taken on like their legacy in other ways. And so it's like, you feel like, you know, you know, these families, and you talk about Brian Kober, and it's just like, all right, I think the most insight I got from Brian Kober is probably his apartment pictures that have come out. I mean, we don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about this person.
Yeah. And I agree with you. It's not about Brian Koberger. It's never been about Brian Koberger. It's about people that are potentially in his same situation where they, and I'm not saying they overcharged him in this case, but if you've read his papers, which I'm sure you have, and it's talking about how
I have not read them yet because I'm waiting to do my Unmasking Brian Koberger series, so I have not. And it's for a reason though. So I have not read any of the, like the pictures that have come out of the 600. Yeah. I've left everything. So every report that has to do with interviewing anybody that knew Brian Koberger, put that aside, put it all aside, building it all aside so that I can then take that from like in a chronological way and kind of like unmask him in a way. But
yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. And
yeah, so I would love to hear what you're talking about as far as like reading his papers. You said that from his papers, what did you ascertain from that? Like,
he's very well. He can write really good. And you can tell he's at a very high level of quote criminology, and it sounds like a PhD student. And what essentially how I would sum it up is that people are overcharged and then forced into a plea, and that the plea deal, they still like, why are people that are innocent taking pleas? And if you look at kind of what happened to him in a way where it's like, well, we'll take the death penalty off. And if he was terrified of death, it's like, well, he's pleading, right? He's not quote confessing. And there's this entire thing about how like 90 to 95 or 94% of cases, they don't go to trial. They're all pleas. And he just talks about the evidence and stuff like that. And again, without having it in front of me, that was just how I would sum it up. But I think you're going to be surprised at some of the stuff you read. I think you're going to actually agree with a lot of it. That was what was kind of shocking to me, was to see how many people are like, wow, that is really well said. Like, and the statistics in there. So I'm curious to see. I'll obviously be checking that series out when you do that. The next one, I submitted this one, which I've only ever done twice. I have never seen this angle of this footage. And I just said it's like murder without a mess, that you would think at least. So I said the knife sheath DNA that appeared out of nowhere. And I was just kind of ranting typing this, but it's like the sheath appeared out of nowhere. Staged looking crime scene, apartment photos, the moving pictures where you see the moving boxes and the moving van and the truck with the mattress, the bizarre 911 call, the total lack of transparency from law enforcement and courts. The whole thing screams manufactured narrative instead of truth. And I'll play this video. I haven't ever seen this angle. So I sometimes will just put Hive Mind finds as like videos that I've never seen, and or photos I've never seen, and this is one of them.
The gear whatsoever, no one's even got gloves on, nothing whatsoever.
Yeah, this is from December 29th, I believe. December 30th.
Yeah, I don't know whose voice it is, but he's just pretty much cussing about the whole time. But it is interesting. I've never seen the angle.
This is when Roger Lanier gets a call up.
They don't look that professional to me. No one's got uniforms on.
There, tell him stop.
What are they talking about?
I think it looks like a kid. I mean, it's a crime scene. You know what I'm saying? It is a little.
Doesn't look like.
Yeah, they end up stopping this real quick.
So now they're all entering an active crime scene. Look, where's the police? Yeah, go on, you crack on. Put your fucking fingerprints in there, mate. Yeah, fuck off. This ain't right.
You know what's really sneaky of them is when they did this, they were trying to do it so that nobody would, like, we're all like the cameras are not here and they're focused on, because I believe if I'm not mistaken, this is happening right when he was arrested. Like it was December 29th, December 30th. Yeah. And it was right while the arrest was happening / it was like that next day. And then immediately it was told to stop immediately. So like they didn't get, like it got to this point and then you see everything just cut, you know?
So was this the cleanup crew that was hired?
Yeah, yes, and they actually so they have to stop at the drop of a dime. Then it was an order in by the judge, and then one of these people, something happened between this point and like February of 2023, and Roger Lanier had to turn in a report to talk about what the non-dissemination. You know, if they're going to hire somebody like this, you have people sign that you're not going to disclose anything. And Roger Lanier had to write a report and do a little bit of work and turn something in based on something that Ann Taylor had asked for.
And there was also an NDA signed by the company that wherever the raw materials of the house taken down went to, that there's also an NDA on that.
Oh, when it was wrecked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like just the construction. Yes, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So I thought that was interesting. And then, okay, now I'm very excited to show you this, Lana, because there's oddly a method to the madness of the conspiracies and the Hive. I said, watch the power of the Hive on this. So last night I'm going off on how I'm like, there is effing Korean written all over this board. Okay. Like,
can you read Korean?
I can't, but I did put it, I screenshotted it and I put it into Google Translates. I had another person in the Hive send me what they found from Google Translate, and I put it into ChatGPT to Google Translate it. And it says that this is Korean. And obviously I got Brian Cover here in a traditional male Korean
That's what
outfit.
that is. Brian.
So, right.
I see the word Brian written above over to the right. B-R-A, yeah, B-R-Y-A-N. I see that over there next to the green arrow to the right.
Well, okay. So, and people could say that they're getting different things on their translates or their GPTs, whatever. I mean, I did it live last night. So but I want to talk through at least my thought process on this, because this is interesting to see my thought process and then see what somebody in the Hive said, that if it is Korean and if my thought was right, they took it to a step where it's like, see, that's a reasonable explanation that kind of reels me in a little bit, right? But I saw this Brian and I saw like this odd comma. It just seems exaggerated. And then I saw this little line when you looked at the Teddy Roosevelt card. And I'm like, that looks exactly like this line here. It looks like very similar. So I'm like, well, what is that shit? And I'm like, is that like, that looks like a Japanese letter is what I thought. And I'm like, kind of all of this does. And it comes out to like, there's knife, there's a number 4, and it says knife, 4 people dead, Brian Koberger, punishment, legal case. Long story short, it's not really what it's not what it translates to. I could be wrong. I'm owning that. This is a ChatGPT translation.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm owning that. But listen to now. Fun. Yeah, I'm having fun. And I'm also like, I don't know, it looks like Korean. And this caught my eye. That's how my brain works. I can't help it. So then you look at what Liz had sent. And I'm like, this is actually such a good thought process. They said, Birdie, another way to investigate what it all means is to know if all of it was written by both BK and the Korean assistant before or after the murder. If it was after the murder, then it is possible that they were analyzing the case together in both languages. Because there are so many redactions, it is too hard to tell what is missing from BK himself. This is redacted on purpose. It has to be post-crime and probably the last day of class because the writing is still on the board. Looking at it in this manner is just more proof that he was analyzing the case along with the Korean words that you have interpreted. You should be sure to mention this to the rest of the Hive as a plausible explanation for the info on the board. It is also not probable that it was written before the crime because of what you've shown about what it said with knife, unless you're saying BK knew a knife was going to be used in the crime in the future. Now, that is interesting. This guy also looks nothing like BK. It's the best AI could do. But I will say, that could be an explanation. Also, Lana, why
do you have a picture? Do you have a picture of it with just like itself? Like,
yes, yep.
Can I see that?
Yeah, I go.
Or
right
if
here.
you don't have it, it's cool.
I don't have it.
We can come back, or I can. You're good.
But
like, is that just like? Because I know that's the whiteboard in the office, but is that the whole part of it, or is there more to the one side?
Well, there's this giant redaction, and then there's like a X, like a quadrant that's kind of got like social, it's essentially like, it looks like a criminology like matrix, kind of like who are the players, where were they found, things like that, blah blah blah, or maybe not where were they found, but it looks like they were doing some sort of like exercise on it. And my thought is that would be normal if you went to school 10 minutes away and you heard about this and you're not arrested and you're like wargaming it out. Like you're trying to make, I mean, you're in criminology. That's a giant crime. Do you see how that could be a reasonable explanation?
I think if it was Brian Culber that, killed 4 students, everything that would have happened afterwards and everything that you're looking at right now, he would have put all of this the way that it is. He would want this exactly how it is.
You said if he did.
Brian Culber is the killer, then he knew that if he was ever caught, okay, that everybody is going to be analyzing every single thing coming down to his apartment, coming down to his car. I mean, every little thing. He knew that.
Correct. Yes.
100% knew that. And so this would be no different. What I think is interesting is I haven't gone through the interviews with the faculty, staff, undergrads, all of the things that have to do with Brian Culber. Like I said, I put those aside just to save that section. My first question would be was anybody asked about this board? If nobody was asked about this board in this investigation, then they're a bunch of fucking idiots, because you would ask, I mean, that's my number one question is what is all, like, did you write this, Korean lady? Did you, whoever I'm fucking talking to, who fucking wrote this? Like, you interview people, like you ask questions. So I think it's for us not to know that answer tells you everything that you need to know about what kind of questions were being asked by these investigators.
You would think there might be something about, hey, when we went through Brian Koberger's office, we saw stuff written on the board and it looked like it might be Korean. Okay. Did he have an assistant or did he have a student? I don't know. But like, I also just want to know, why would they redact a damn thing on this whiteboard? And you could say maybe students' names, but it's like, it's too
when
sporadic.
was Brian Culber born? Did any of these have dates? Because they like to redact dates, So I don't know, under Brian, like, I don't know if that's like a number, like if there's passwords on here, Yeah,
I mean,
like Wi-Fi. I don't know.
I have no idea, but it just seems very sporadically written in general. It looks chaotic, and to just pick and choose certain things that were redacted. Maybe it's information. I thought to myself, it's probably just because it's too obviously Korean and they didn't want us to know. Like that's literally what I thought.
I think they're lazy as fuck. I would have asked these questions. I would have the answer if I was,
For sure. And I just thought it was interesting, and rather I wanted to just show that. But shout out to Liz for that, because honestly, that's like what I geek out over, is seeing people take what is said as just a random sporadic thought that I'm just thinking out loud, and they're like, that could be reasonable. So shout out to Liz for that one. Now, I put a couple pictures here that's just random shit that I'm curious as to what your thoughts are.
I'm gonna
the
help
first
you,
one. I mean, what do you think? Duplicates, planted, rental car.
Okay, so number one, your research book. It's research methods. It is not the same book. If you look over here to the right, which is in the office, the research methods book right there is a heavily used book. It's not in pristine condition. You can see up top, you have the tabs.
Oh yeah.
Like if you're,
I never noticed
your
that.
tabs. So that right there, all of those books right there, that was equivalent to what the classes were taking. That means these are books that you must get if you are, whether you're taking the class, whether you're teaching the class, whatever. I don't have his schedule to tell you which is which, but if you go through that research methods book right there on the left in his room is in pristine condition.
Yeah,
the research methods book over there on the right that's in the office is definitely not in pristine condition, and it has the tabs on it.
Is this a receipt still at the top? They all look in rather pristine condition, except for maybe there's a piece of paper in the back here, and this one you can tell was opened. But a lot of them look, you're right, they look brand new. You know how like, when you read a book, you can just kind of tell if it's been read?
Yeah, and kind of going with like if Brian Culber, right, is the killer, right? If you actually look, if he would have known what his what classes he was going to be taking, right? When people are talking about you're planning this, how far you're planning this, I mean, when you read all of those book titles, you're like, wow, like, he's basically, I mean, this is talking about, people could say, God, look at this. It's like he knows the criminal justice system. He's saying he's innocent with these books, basically. You know what I mean? And he's being framed, or you're getting an innocent person to, plea and shit like that. So it's very interesting to me looking at this, like, wow, talk about this semester of school books and what you were asked to go and get based on these classes. Again, that's if all of them were assigned. We're actually in the process of going through that at the Book It. It's called, or Bookie, Bookie. It's where you can buy your books at WSU. I'm trying to get one of those people to talk.
It's not submitting bets on a pay
That's
line.
what I was like, come on, how are you going to
Do they have
ruin?
like bookie.com? Is that what what is their?
They need to. That's what they call their damn bookstore over there, like Bookie. I'm like,
That's hilarious.
So
Yeah, that's funny. What do you think about this rental car? Or like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, that might be like, is it budget rental car, booking number, writing it down, mileage? Any thoughts on that? Why would you need a rental car? He owns his car. Is it even his?
Brian puts a lot of miles on his car. We learned that early on with his Carfax, based on when he had it in Pennsylvania. Then he had it serviced, but he put on like something like 30 or between 30 and 40,000 miles in 1 year. And so I was like, wow, that actually is really good for Brian's defense with this whole like driving. Okay. Driving at night, driving around. I've actually been to Idaho. I could tell you this, like, there you could drive for days out there, man, and you do not have service. But it's interesting that miles, they took the number, they redacted the number, but kept the budget docket. How many numbers are there with the docket number? Does that say docket?
I thought it was 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11.
It says BOO. Does it say book? What does that say?
I think it says booking. That's what I thought. But why redact mileage? See, that's like that. Just drives me up
tells
a
me
wall.
that it's your air miles. It's your flying. That's your.
I mean, God. It just.
I would think that would have something to do with your. Didn't Brian Culber's dad pay for his flight with some miles?
Could be.
He had his own like miles.
Could be. And that's why too, I'm just like, what
He could have also been considering this, if you think about it. If Brian Culber was going to fly back, so renting a car to drive home and then flying back, these are all things that I think, which is kind of shocking. The prosecution asking and calling his dad to the stand and calling his mom to the stand and potentially his sister. But those type of questions would be definitely asked about, when did you book your flight out there? Was it always planned? And I think for the most part, I'm convinced that it was always planned for him to go home because of his mom's Reddit account. She was writing a bunch of stuff about,
she was saying she was going to cry.
She was just like, it was very interesting.
Yes.
Very interesting reading her comments, if it is her account.
Right.
I would just assume go see a therapist, but I'm going to write that shit out there.
Yeah. I mean,
I guess maybe it was, I don't know who she was talking to. I don't, but yeah.
Well, anyways, like I said, I got a couple things that are those between these two Hive Mind finds. I was curious about what you think. And now I wanted to
books. I don't think they're planted.
Okay. Now
or they're like the copy of like that. Like he has his own copy,
maybe potentially.
Yeah, whatever those are in there, those are either one of the other people's. Because remember, that's I believe that those are not planted. If that's what. That's just why I would say.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? It could be straightforward. Unfortunately, I can't just accept that. You know what I mean? But it makes sense. It looks like a pristine book. And I know that now moving on to Sergeant Blaker, you and I wanted to discuss this.
Let's fuck him up.
And you know what's funny is I forgot about this, that Kaylee was into true crime and she had reported a woman missing. And do you know who the officer was that she made the report to? It was Sergeant Blaker. And this is from Fox News on January 23rd, 2023. But I just pulled a clip, so I don't got to open it. But it says, Kaylee told me the female's name is possibly Sharon Archer, Sergeant Dustin Blaker, who would eventually become a lead investigator on the student stabbing. So I just thought that was interesting. I actually didn't know that he was the person the report was filed to.
He's lazy. I mean, she just called the police department and called it in. He called her back. I think the most interesting part about that story is the address that she gave. She gave Maddie's address as her own. I
have the report here. Should I pull it up?
Yeah, I don't know if it was because
I think it's in the article.
She was just going back to that house that night, but that's the most, to me, the most profound thing about the whole thing.
Does anybody in the Hive, why does this happen to me? Every time I open an article, I'm not doing it.
Okay.
That's why I don't do it. It just always goes bananas. So that's interesting though about the address too. Did it ever?
She put in 1122 King Road as the address, and just a couple things come to mind. The way that it went down is that, okay, I'm gonna, like, where are you gonna be, like, so I can come, like, I don't know, get your statement type of thing. And she was going over to Maddie's house, and that's why she put that. Or her address, the one that she has is Coeur d'Alene at the time, and so she gives up. Okay, but I was like, why wouldn't you give up Jack? It was just very odd. Let's just put it that way. It's
like
not
so
her
many
address.
other things in this case.
It's just not her address. So I would love to know more about why she ever said that address. It'd also be like she doesn't trust the cops. In the Rachel Del Tondo case, I'm not going to give you my address. I'll give you this address. And
look at what Sherlock had said. The amount of times Creme 2 News lied about Sharon Archer's case is wild. I'm not too familiar with that case. I don't know how much you know about it, but
it wouldn't surprise me. And you know what it is, guys? It's not about them lying so much. It's just that they're not doing the work. They're reporting on something that they don't know. That's like me saying, hey, I'm going to talk about, I don't know, the periodic table tonight, and I'm just going to start fucking talking about the periodic table. I don't know dick about the periodic table.
Right.
For me to just talk about something that I don't know. So I think more it's like, I don't think they come out planning on lying. They're literally saying stuff that they just don't know.
I do know that on the periodic table that Bob Lazar called one prior to it ever being announced. So now you had written pretty much exactly.
Speaking of bad sources, I do want to say this.
Yeah.
I want to talk to. I just really wish that Anjanette Levy would take me up on the offer to come on my channel, because I really just want to ask her some questions about who did she interview when she said she interviewed the private driver, Eric Grower, wherever the hell he wants to say his last name. Who did you truly interview? Because it wasn't him. Okay. And
you're talking about Blaker?
No, I'm talking about, Law and Crime, when they put out that interview and they said they interviewed the private driver.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because I'm just talking about, we don't want to talk about people putting shit out is, that's all mainstream media kind of did the whole time, is that they just put out these stories and they just kept getting blown up. But they were never retracting. They would never come out and like retract. They went for Ann Taylor's job, for heaven's sakes, off of complete, like, they knew in February it wasn't true of 2023. No retraction to Ann Taylor. Like that could cause this is people's careers. Like, I'm sorry, but in America, you get a public defender because we're entitled to that. Those are our rights. If we cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for us. Okay.
Yep.
And so to see Ann Taylor in a position where she's doing her job and you have mainstream media coming and saying that Ann Taylor is the freaking lawyer for Kara's, or Xana's mom, Kara, and hyping Kara up in some ridiculous way is just, if you read the report, it's sad. It's how can you take advantage of a victim's mom like that? Somebody who's struggled her whole life with addiction and could potentially go down that path again because of what just has transpired. And you want to fuck with somebody like that? Like, I have a problem with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's always been interesting to hear the mainstream media sit on their pedestal and come at people on the internet in general. It doesn't matter if you're the conspiracy theorist. It doesn't matter if you're just a citizen journalist. It's very interesting that they'll go at, oh, that's from the internet. We're your trusted source. But at the end of the day, they've been speculating on the same shit that everybody else has been. Isn't that so interesting? But yet it doesn't really apply to them because they'll still report on, well, that's the internet that was saying that. When it's like, no, I could pull clips of you douchebags saying that too. I don't know.
They're in it for money. They're in it for the ratings. They're supposed to be, I mean, if you think about it, what the media was always about, the media was always about holding the government accountable. So you're supposed to do the work to make sure that what they're doing is you're holding them accountable. You're not supposed to just, here, I have a relationship with them and they're going to feed me, these leaks, or I'm just going to push their narrative because, I mean, in this country, we are innocent until proven guilty. That's not, I mean, that's what it is. And if you don't like it, you can get the fuck out.
Yes.
It doesn't help when the media is just swallowing whole.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
I'm shocked that more if you think about the fact that not a single mainstream channel has switched up on this at all. Not a single. Well, actually, there was it Banfield one night did a little bit where she was like, we need to start asking some questions to these cops. There was or Megyn Kelly maybe, perhaps. But that's the only one that I've ever heard. I have no idea. But I want to go because I think I do think you make a very valid point about, are they lying or are they just not doing the work so that they don't have the honest answer because they haven't put the work in? And you had said, Corporal Blaker, I said Sergeant Blaker, whoops. While you're beyond lazy, Officer Blaker. Yeah. Blaker only wrote a couple of reports for the entire investigation. Seriously. Blaker's first report was on the 20th of December in 2022, days before Koberger's arrest. 9 months later, he wrote up reports for what he did on November 13th of 2022. And then 9 months later, he wrote up reports for what he did on November 25th through December 13th of 2022.
And then 2.5 years later. Yeah. And then 2.5 years later, he wrote up what he did on the same time period, November 25th through December 7th.
And then I saw this in the Discord. So how many names do we know how many names were given by either Bethany, DM, or any family members?
They never said any names as far as all the reports that we have. They never said a name ever. Only the names that they've ever talked about as far as Bethany or Dylan was concerned was just who had access to the house as far as who had the passcode.
Right.
Who people were dating or talking to, you know what I mean? Something like that. And then who they were with that night. But we haven't seen, I can zoom. I can also use, if you want, I could share.
I could do this if you'd like.
Oh, okay. There you go. Well, and then I could break it all down to what this even is about.
Yeah. I was confused. I saw this in the email and I was going to let you just kind of, like I said, backstage, I'm like, I'll let you kind of drive the ship on this because I have no idea what I'm looking at. You had sent me, we're obviously now covering it. It's a blank whiteboard, but then it's filled in. So
yeah, the
floor is yours.
Okay. So something that I think is interesting is Blaker, who's been around the Moscow Police Department for 20 some years. I think he refers to himself as having 27 years at one of the body cams. So let's just say 20 plus years. And so he would have, rank there in terms of, seniority or whatever. But if there's anybody that's gonna, if there's anybody that should know how to do something right, it's gonna be people that have been around, and have gone through murders in that town. Everybody wants to say that something would never happen here in Moscow. Well, actually, if you just don't report on something, then yeah, it would make it seem like it's fucking Mayberry, but it's not.
And DM herself had even said, we didn't think anything of it because nothing even happened. Or was it DM or was it Bethany? One of them had said something like, there's nothing that really happens here.
DM
so it's
said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to track Blaker's movements because Blaker is the plug. So let me explain what Blaker was doing in this investigation. You would think that Blaker did absolutely nothing in this investigation. On November 13th, he arrives at MPD. He interviews people there and then goes to the scene and is then there at the scene, walks through it, which if you're not a detective, why are you walking through? But he doesn't write up any of his report to do with walking through the scene until in January. Okay, almost February. Then November 14th, he goes with Detective Vargas back to the scene, okay, and doesn't make a report though that he was ever there. We only know that because of Vargas's. And then on the 15th, nothing. Okay, so what are you doing on the 15th? Like literally, there's no report of anything that man did on the 15th. Now, Blaker was
Day
assigned.
Off, maybe? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Blaker was assigned to be Bethany and Dylan's handler. So what I mean by that is that, so on November 16th, as you can see here, he flies and he goes to interview Bethany. Okay. Whether he flew on November 16th or whether he flew on maybe November 15th night, he interviews Bethany in Nevada on the 16th. Then he flies on the 16th back so that he's back in Boise. So he flies out of Boise to go to Nevada, flies back in. Then on November 17th, he's in Boise, and that's where him and Gooch take on Dylan and interview her. November 18th, nothing. November 19th, nothing. No report. November 18th, no report. November 19th, no report. November 20th, no report. Then on November 21st, he gets back into a vehicle in the morning from Moscow on the 21st, drives to Boise to pick up the vial that has the DNA profile for the sheath, to then catch a flight that night out of Houston, to then arrive, it's a red eye. He's then in Houston on November 22nd to then, here you go at 3 p.m. to Othram. Okay. Then no report on November 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th. No reports. You cannot find where that man is November 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th. Nothing on November 28th. November 29th, he has a report that he writes up in July of 2023 to say that, oh, hey, yeah, I was at the scene and I had dealt with the tow trucks that took the cars up out of there to put them where they were going to put the victims' cars.
This is a decent point, not to interrupt, but someone said Thanksgiving. Maybe. I don't know.
They worked all through that. Thanksgiving was on November. You guys, when there's a murder, I mean, I'm sorry to say, but when you're a cop and you're a detective, no, I'm going to get to why this is like this, though.
Especially if he was ended up being
so we know this, he did not do anything. Just so we're clear here, he did not do anything. The man did not record this because he was the FBI's motherfucking gopher. But I'm going to tell you how he did it, though. He was the plug with WSU, Pullman, like I'm showing you here. He's getting on the planes. He's flying. He's the plug.
So he wasn't in a
he was doing things, you guys. He just wasn't documenting. And you have to ask yourself, well, Lana, is that normal? Well, fuck no, because that's not going to hold up in court. Like when Blaker gets on the stand and Ann Taylor was going to bend him over. Because
50 states.
Oh, she was. Because we're going to get to the fact of like, well, why are you writing all these? Because there's no reports of like, well, how would the FBI get X, Y, and Z? Or how did this happen? And then here he comes in July of 2023 or in July of 2024 or in 2025 writing up reports for something that you did like literally in the first 2 weeks of an investigation. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, that's not what you do. And he's getting caught as to why he's writing reports then down the road. So what I was able to keep track of here is that he tows those cars, or he watches them get towed. He watches the ECU come out of a couple of the cars, but nothing on December 1st, nothing on December 2nd, nothing on December 3rd. And so I did that. So it's like a 3-week period.
Yeah.
And then what he then ends up writing, and I call him, he's got a couple nicknames here. Again, so
Yeah.
he dealt with
What's your best one?
Vampire Daddy.
I did not expect that.
Vampire Daddy, Traveling Daddy, Boise Daddy, Pullman Daddy, WVU Daddy, everything Don Daniels Daddy. I'm telling you, he has relationships with all these people because he's been around. And he's dirt. I have no problem saying it's my opinion. If there's going to be anybody that's dirty here, it's like, wait, you were actually the one that was in Pullman. So then I created this, what you guys are looking at here. I created this to say, okay, what was going on? And when he decides to write up his reports, what is he saying he did? And some things that were just bombshell, and I said I was going to save it for your channel to talk about, is there's reports. I don't know if you're able to just like punch it in and it will pop up the report. But
are you talking about like the actual MPD reports?
Yeah, I'm just saying November 19th is the day that I personally believe that they had gotten Brian Kober's name somehow. And that's the MPD report, and it's if you went with it's report 218, but Tyson Barrett writes it up. If you need I don't know the page number. I just know the report.
I said, so that's not going to be the sequence number then if I control F it, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so check this out. Right here. So see how he says on 11/19/2022. So Tyson Barrett was not going to be called by the prosecution. And I'm like, how? How is he not getting called? Well, here you go. Look at what he did. Remember, they're not supposed to have anything to know anything about like the White Elantra, right? What came first, like IgG or the White Elantra? I don't think either. But right here it says on 11/19, he notifies or gets, requesting a list of the vehicles with the parking permits on campus. But do you see how they go ahead and they say they have it already listed as we're looking for the Elantras, for any White Elantras dating back to 2017. But this all originally started on it originated on 11/19 when they were going to start looking into the.
Hey, do you find it odd that it says dating back to 2017?
I think that's as far back as their computers were going.
Oh, okay. Because that right there, like that is in my head when I just saw that. I'm like, dating back to that would mean 2017 would be the latest you would go to if you talk in that manner typically. Like, that dates back to the 70s. I don't know.
And then check this out. Type in number 266 in the reports. This is Blaker getting totally effed right here. Okay, yeah. So Brett Payne writes this up, but read what it's for.
So we have
this is like a month. This is like March of 2024. So like it's like a year and a half later.
Received an email from Captain Blaker containing 2 attachments. The first attachment was titled Vehicle List. This document contained all information on MPD's fleet of vehicles to include non-patrol and unmarked vehicles. The second attachment, MPD schedule 11/12 to 11/13. This document contained the entire shift schedule for MPD officers from those dates. These 2 documents were provided in response to defense counsel request. I attached both files to the Spillman case file. Later on. Okay.
I was just going to say that's your proof right there when everybody wants to know Ann Taylor and what she was on to. Ann Taylor wanted to know every single fleet that Moscow had just in their, MPD, but we also want to know what you drive personally.
Right.
What vehicles you have personally and your schedule on 11/12 and 11/13. And do you notice how though it's like I received an email from Blaker containing, well then Blaker, why aren't you writing up this report? If you did if you have all this stuff, okay. He's had these things. He's had these.
It's crazy.
Okay. So Blaker, why aren't you just doing it? He's like that's what I'm saying. He's like the gopher. And then type this one in. Type in 158.
Okay.
Check this out.
While I'm getting that pulled up, what's your take on the like the undercover car and plainclothes officers? Are you under the assumption that is suspect vehicle 1 that we are seeing?
It's the vehicle that's on 700 block of Indian Hills. It's gone over to obviously the King Road area. Yep. And they lied on when they cleared areas like that, the Banfield. Yep, there's a lot of lying going on. And I believe that the undercover cop car was going to play a big part in the defense's case.
I do too. I absolutely do.
Like I'll tell you who the 4 I believe that were out there.
Of the 4 cars or of the 4?
If I was Ann Taylor and I'm not using, if I don't mention, I'm sorry, but I have to go with the 2 plainclothes officers as if I'm going third party culprit. I mean, they're lying about where they are. And if this crime happened at certain times and you're talking about what then Dylan's talking about, okay. Yeah.
Well, it's like
that's when the car goes back there.
Exactly. And you also think, I've always thought about the hearing a firecracker, seeing a flash, and I'm like, well, who's in the area at the time that would have a gun on them?
Yeah, well, what's crazy is Dylan says that it was based off of what cops were saying as to why she started talking about like an arrow and shit. Like, it's like, what cops did you talk to and when did this happen?
Yeah. It
doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And plus, seeing the flash also doesn't really make sense either if it happened where it did, because the flash wouldn't go through a wall. It wouldn't bend,
Yeah, no, I think that's somebody, if you had your phone on and you're taking a picture of food that you put by the door, it would flash.
That's not a bad take either. Instead of it being a gunshot, how do you explain? What would you guess the firecracker was? A gunshot? Or no?
I don't think it was a firecracker. I think that was from that freaking Vampire Diaries shit blowing up and shit like that.
So loud TV.
I think everything shit. I think everything is coming from that show.
It is interesting. So can I just ask you one question? Sorry.
Yeah.
I want to ask you one thing. So I'm not trying to make you go conspiracy, but you're obviously more than welcome to. And it's rather encouraged here, one might say. But what are the odds that the Vampire Diaries that's playing is essentially depicting exactly what's going on in the house? And then what are the odds that Brian Koberger's papers, when you do read them, are damn near depicting what's happening to him? I think that is too coincidental. It's either a planted narrative or what we've been told about, like, coincidences and oddities and the Mandela effect and the Matrix. We've crossed timelines and things are like, I don't know how to explain that. It in a case that gets this much publicity on what should have been a straightforward college town unaliving by a single perp that's a loner, weirdo, criminology student that had no friends, that stalked the victims and used a K-bar knife he bought on Amazon. To have all that other shit line up, isn't that insane? That's insane.
I'll tell you what I think's insane about that. The television. So if I personally believe that if somebody truly went in there and plan this, right, you want to turn something on and have the volume up, right, so that people aren't being heard screaming and stuff, right? So either that Vampire Diaries was still being played, okay, or when somebody went in there, they turned it on, okay, and turned it on whatever the hell it was, whatever was on. You know how sometimes when you're watching something and it says, do you want to continue watching this because you've watched so many episodes? So what I think is interesting is if they took the television, they took the Fire Stick out of that house, we never heard anything again about what came about the television and this smart, I want to know what you can get from any of that. I want to know if there's any truly data that you could obtain. Like, hey, yeah, the TV was on from this time to this time. Is that even possible? Because there was never again any talks. It's like you took the TV, you took the Fire Stick, right? You took the Fire Stick out of Brian's, place, or what it seems like you took. And I've never have you guys heard of a trial yet? where we're talking about fire sticks being used and televisions being used, because I have not heard anybody get up on a stand and talk about that the TV was on at this point. And this was, you know, so I'm just curious, what were they trying to obtain from that data? Is there even data that exists?
Have there been
Has anyone
criminal cases
testified to it
that has had to testify to a Fire Stick, Roku, smart TV, etc., being what in the same vicinity as the crime occurring or something?
Well, it's like, if would my Fire Stick tell you that I was watching, like what time that it was in use, like that?
Yeah, let's just see what it says. Do I ever pull that data? I'm curious. They pull like they obviously pull your internet history, right? And if your TV's a Wi-Fi connected,
yeah, that's what I want to know.
Yeah,
can it tell you from the router? Can it tell you from the?
So this says, all right, known cases involving smart devices. There was a New Hampshire double murder case that used some sort of smart speaker. Thermostats, Ring doorbells, lights. Obviously, the Ring doorbells are obvious. The thermostat. Imagine getting cooked. Imagine getting cooked by a freaking thermostat, a smart thermostat. That's how
I have
they
a smart
catch you.
thermostat. That's interesting.
I mean, that would be wild. Okay, there's no high-profile criminal case that has yet used the activity log.
Thank you. I knew the answer, but I wanted to.
Yeah.
Because
this is
there
wild,
hasn't been. There is no high-profile case that has ever used a Fire Stick, someone testifying to that evidence. And so I was like, I almost feel like, how do I want to say this?
Oh, that's interesting. BJ Scribner says there was a guy in Polk County, Florida, arrested by Chief Grady for breaking into Fire Sticks so you can watch other platforms and selling them at a flea market, which is not illegal. Wait, hang on.
I think that's the
like jailbreaking it.
Yeah, that's like when you put all like the movies on your Fire Stick that you can just like go and whatever.
Oh, like pirated movies and shit. But
yeah,
it says Fire TV Stick. A forensic analysis paper explored how investigators can image the device, retrieve user artifacts like their system logs, installed apps, maybe usage details.
Yeah, you're going to be able to see
methods of extracting it.
But it's not going to tell you that it was your TV was on and shit was playing from this time to this time, and this was the show that was on. Like that's the type of shit I want to know.
Well, maybe they're listening to you.
Well,
I mean, everything is.
The only reason I think it would be interesting in this case, okay, is because Dylan's story is that there was music playing, or like Keely's dancing with the dog. There's when I thought about the Vampire Diaries, you guys, there's in any shows that we watch, they clip to like a song that plays, whether it's at the end of like the video, like the episode, or at the beginning, or even like in the middle, like there's but the one thing that this isn't a conspiracy. Dylan never said she went to bed and then woke up to whatever. Like that is a lie. That narrative is a lie. And anybody out there that's going to say Dylan never told the police that, Dylan has never said that I went to bed and then I woke up to Kaylee screaming and running down the steps and the dog and all. No, she said that she was awake and she was in her room and that Kaylee's going to go to bed. Now it's my turn to go to bed. It's 4:00 in the morning. And so her saving that number at 351 makes sense. She did. She was awake and it wasn't like, and then you'd have to ask her. The only question I would ever want to know from Dylan is, why'd you call Xana's phone first versus Kaylee's? If you thought it was Kaylee that said whatever. But she doesn't do anything until after Bethany makes the first move, which is huge in the story. Like,
right.
Absolutely huge. Like, Dylan doesn't do anything until after hearing from Bethany. And that is everything. And Ann Taylor knew that. And once the jury was to hear that, I think that would change. It would change a lot of things.
I agree with that. And I found this on ResearchGate. It says the Fire TV stick is designed to be registered to a specific Amazon account in order to access Amazon content. An Amazon account was created for the device under the same Fire Stick. A gaming profile was also created locally. However, you go on to say, to assess video streaming features, Netflix and YouTube apps were installed and accessed. The Netflix app was then used to stream the first 10 minutes of movies, and it included in this study House of Cards Season 1, Episode 2, Pulp Fiction. So it sounds like they're able to drill down and see what episode, how long, and at what point you stopped watching it, which is...
Yeah, I'm waiting for someone to testify to that, because I just think in this case it would have been interesting, because it's verbatim Vampire Diaries, like, and that's why Vicky Gooch was not on the prosecution witness list. How is that? Well, because Vicky Gooch is going to go opposite of Dustin Blaker here. Dustin Blaker was on the witness list, and Taylor left Dustin Blaker completely alone in all of the preliminary hearings that they had, or the pretrial motions rather, and totally left Dustin Blaker alone. Well, and I'm gonna tell you why. 2 reasons. Because you would think that Dustin Blaker did dick in this case, but it wasn't until Ann Taylor started asking for a ton of stuff there at the end, and she waited to the end right before discovery was due, because she knew what she was doing. She deals with these people all the time, and when I say that, I mean like the way that Idaho works, and all this stuff starts flowing in. It's like, oh, now Dustin Blaker wants to say, oh, I don't know what dates these were, but between this date and this date, I was working with Pullman Police, or the FBI sent me to go get this file, like these videos. It's absolutely ridiculous. Dustin Blaker was going to get his ass handed to him, and it's going to look really suspicious that Dustin Blaker, you were given an email on November 25th. Okay, that had Brian Koberger's name, first and last name, his plate number. Okay, and this didn't come from WSU. You were working with them, and if you look at that calendar, and you're like, oh, I see what you're saying, Lana. So November 19th, I see what you're saying now. The only time that Dustin Blaker, he's involved in everything that's huge. He's involved in the Bethany and the Dylan. Okay, he interviewed them. He flew out to Nevada. He's in Boise. He's texting with those 2 girls. Okay. Then he flies to Houston. He's handling the stuff with the Sheath. Okay. Then from November 23rd, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, literally no reports. He only has 1 report that featured the 29th and the 30th because he watched some cars get towed. Doesn't report December 1, 2, 3. You guys, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. This dude didn't write any reports, and yet literally was working 18-hour days. Why?
Yeah. Well,
because he was the FBI's bitch.
Bitch. That's funny. I mean, it is remarkable that there is so many things that you can't put your finger on. And I just saw this fly by in the chat too, where there's no explanation. There's no crystal clear explanation. I don't get why that would be, even at this point with everything being released. It's still so redacted. I understand the names, I understand the dates, but then you see odd stuff like there's this giant tinted bug shield on the Elantra. When was that ever talked about as like a notifying description of the car? Everyone talked about a sunroof. You know, isn't that a little weird? Why is there not? And you know, if you don't think it's weird, I think that shit's weird. I think there's so many things like that.
They like, you guys, I'm of the opinion, okay, that in life things have to happen, right? When things happen and they're usually tragic events, then that's when stuff changes. Okay. Tragedy creates change. You know how sad that is, but it's the truth. 9/11 happens, and then what happens to all of our airports and the type of security, like you're not, because think about it. Yeah. Like planes are like basically bombs if you fucking run them into, you know, but also what else could be going on behind the scenes with that? Was 9/11, like people can say who did it and whatever. But
Oh yeah,
at the
you're in the right
at the end
spot for
at the
that.
end of the, at the end of the day, though, like nobody thinks that anything can happen to them, and when it happens to you, though, then it's like, okay, I want to do something about it. But tragedy is what politicians use to get votes. Okay,
Never let a good crisis go to waste, Lana.
and it's sad, and I don't talk about politics on my channel. It's just I don't think there's any place for it in true crime. Only because I'm of the standpoint of is like, dude, here's the case. Here's here it is. It has no, let's if you work the case and just work the case, it doesn't fucking matter.
The only thing, and this isn't even necessarily political on one side or the other. It's I am curious what your thoughts are from like a legal standpoint on when I say the Patriot Act. I'm not saying that, but it's how sometimes these overreaches, what seems like an overreach or what typically is an overreach after the fact. So, for example, this IGG and the FBI giving the tip, and they broke their own guidelines. We all know the story a million times, but it's like, will that then be codified and made law after the fact? So we're now, and I've joked about it on the stream, you spit into a tube to see if you're part Viking, and next thing you know, they're going 2,000 miles across the country and getting a dirty Q-tip out of your trash, and then you're going to be put into a murder room in Idaho for a quadruple homicide because there's a speck of DNA in a sheath. I know that I'm exaggerating that, but trace DNA is also becoming a thing where it's like, how hard is that to plant, especially with all of that?
Listen, if you think that there's corrupt cops, okay, which I do, I 100% do. Like nobody, first of all, not only do I think there's corrupt cops, everybody makes mistakes in life. And to think that the cops and lab people just don't make mistakes. I mean, come on, guys. Everybody makes mistakes in their workplace. Okay. We're human. Okay. But when DNA basically came about and where it's at right now, it changed the game up just like in NFL football. You have the instant replay now. Okay. It changed the game up where, if you want to fix the game, you had to go from, okay, we're going to buy some players. So then we're going to buy the ref. Well, now you better buy the person in the booth who's going to decide whether or not something's going to be overturned, right?
You got to buy the Buffalo Wild Wings employees that's pressing the button in the commercials when somebody doesn't want to go home.
Yeah. So now you better. So now what we're talking about is all it takes is, I mean, you're telling me that nobody makes a mistake in the lab to like the point that like, dude, I was trying to extract this DNA, or I was trying to, get the, swab this, and then I ruin it, and boom, next thing you know, like, hey, I ruined a piece of evidence to try to collect something, and with that, like, because of that, then we wouldn't have got anything off of that item. So now, if you want to, get to somebody, or you're going to the labs, right? You get what I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah, I follow your process. Yeah,
it
continues to progress.
Exactly. And
it's interesting because at the same time,
how do we know that the DNA came from the sheath? How about that?
We haven't seen the sheath. Does the sheath exist?
That would be the question, though. Is I think that all of our labs should have surveillance cameras, right? Any lab that you use should have surveillance cameras. People whoever's coming in there, who's ever going out there, right? I mean, we're talking about murder here. Okay. Like, you're going to put, like, why wouldn't we have cameras to see who's coming in, who's going out? Then what the people are actually doing in the lab. And why would that all just be on camera? What's the reason that wouldn't be on camera?
It's not hard to do. They probably have security cameras anyways.
I mean, don't you think that the jury can see, like,
body cams?
Yeah, I mean, but it's just, why not? I mean, I don't understand. We're dealing with, like,
people's
I don't know.
lives. People's lives. I mean, I completely see your point about how what are you laughing about?
No, I'm laughing because it's so, like, it's just like that sentence right there. Like, well, yeah, why don't we have cameras in the labs?
Yeah, it's so simple. It's so simple. And the other thing too is,
I'm sure that we do, right? I mean, what if somebody was to steal all your equipment and just walk out of there? Like, let's go steal the fucking ISPs, all their shit. You know what I mean?
I'm one in favor of how there's police scanners. I think you should be able to tune into people's body cams at any time that you want. If they're in their patrol car, if they're whatever, I mean, then obviously worry about privacy issues. We're like, are they taking a piss or whatever else? But it's also, I don't know. I just feel like that would be something too, where it's like now these scanners you listen to. Well, I find it just so odd. And can you tell me the legal reasoning in your mind? But
for what was that for?
Which is this? Sorry, and that
watching
is
it live.
Not necessarily watching it live, but I'm asking more so about how is there so much weight behind ongoing investigation? It seems like it's now been it's deployed to just not answer a question. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like there's a real difference between an ongoing investigation and a relevant question. And this is an ongoing investigation we can't talk about when you just don't want to answer it. I hate that. Why do they redact it and fall back on that? That's become so normalized.
Well, I think it all goes back to they can say that for so long, but when the pressure is there, then the pressure's there. So if just one person's asking for something versus like 150 or 1,000 people, and then you put the media, like that's what I think is awesome about YouTube is that you're able to have a platform that you don't have to rely on mainstream media to decide if they want to take your case or your situation on. There's other people out there and there's other ways to get it out, which before it was the media. And I'm telling you, they're picking cases based off of their fucking money, off of their ratings. They're not covering cases that go like, look at, come on, what are they doing? So, but that's why I think it's just pressure. I think that they're able to answer like that until the pressure comes. And I think what's proof of that is how we saw that hearing last week where the city's like, well, I don't know who would want to see this, these crime scene photos.
I was losing my mind in your chat. I was losing my
mind. The emotional arguments from a lawyer just was ugly as hell. But
terrible.
And it's like nobody wants to see that. We want to see the investigation, But he knows. Like, I feel for the parents. I would be in their same situation. I'd be probably making the same arguments, knowing that I don't have a leg to stand on legally. Okay. But I still feel that way. But the argument is that, we can go ahead and do this and there'll be an appeal. And then you're never going to have that. That's never going to be accepted.
It's
what transpired the other day. I mean, it's crazy.
It is crazy. On my stream that night, I actually had shown the OJ Simpson crime scene photos, the JonBenet Ramsey crime scene photos. There was a bunch, and it's like you look at that, it's like they blurred just the body, and you can see everything else. We're also all adults. We can look if we want. We can see it. It's happening in the public. There's a real argument to be made too.
We watch porn if we want, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's you can go watch anything that you wanted to as an adult. You can get access to what you want. Is looking at a murder scene in your community to see if what you've been told happened in a very redacted and sealed case, is that a conspiracy to want to make sure that it's true? I don't think it's to just see weird blood and gore and guts. I don't think it's any of that. I think it's, and I don't know if they just can't wrap their head around it or what.
I also think it's if you twist it like, hey, I want to make sure that Ann Taylor and her team, they drug this out for 2.5 years. Okay. That's our money as well.
Right.
Okay. Brian has a public defender. That's taxpayer money. Okay.
Right.
Like, what were you, it's for me comes from both sides with that. But
I want to mention this too. Robin brought up a good point. Would that be so now the victim privacy and a precedent set, has there been?
You can't claim privacy for somebody else's.
Exactly.
You cannot do that.
Yes. It's
like
so
there's
weird.
Just no legal stance. I'm sorry.
I take flack for this all the time, but you just got to say it how it is sometimes. And it's unfortunate, but these families are not the only families to ever go through trauma and grief and have.
You know what's really sad is when they said that this case is special. That really, I was like, wait, excuse me, dude. Every case where there's tragedy and
back.
somebody loses somebody.
There we go.
Like that is bad. Like to hear that was not okay. I thought that was really poor words
I missed
to
what
use.
you said. I cut out.
Oh, to treat this case like it was like the entitlement to say like, this case is different. Different how?
Well, that's my point that I'm getting
Like,
at. Yes.
That was horrible to hear that. I'm sorry, but like, I'm sorry. I think the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case where cops literally framed a black kid and they set him up by killing another black kid. Okay. Where's the outrage there? Well, no, we have an innocent dude in prison and we have a black kid that's dead and they were trying to pin this all because of a white teacher, beautiful girl being murdered. And it's just like, how is that case different than this case?
Well,
how is any case different than any case? They're all the
Right.
same. And by
all
you
the
even
same.
saying those words, I think that that's just the entitlement there is fucking.
It's crazy.
You're going to make me go the opposite way in a
Yeah,
heartbeat. Like I
exactly.
will fucking bulldoze you down because
And-
that, for me to hear that was unbelievable.
I agree.
Unbelievable.
I can't believe that the narrative has followed that too. I've never heard more in my life that looking and looking at the evidence, seeing the reports, especially since they've come out, seeing very obvious holes in the narrative has always gotten shut down by saying, let the families grieve. Okay, come on. They're like, just move on. Stop with the conspiracy theories. It's like, it has nothing to do with the conspiracy. It has nothing. I can get on here and I can talk my theories and I can do whatever
The
it
families
is.
want transparency.
And you have a freedom to think out loud, believe it or not, just like you have the freedom to question a narrative. But this case, the entitlement, I use air quotes.
You want to hear something? You want to hear something crazy? Here's something crazy. Okay, so the Chapins and the Mogans family, they're being told by, this is months ago, right? Hey, if you want to see anything, if you're the Gonsalves family and let's say the Coronado family, you're probably going to have to do FOIA requests and you're probably going to have to go through that way. That's Bill Thompson. Bill Thompson is telling these families that if they want to get documents, they have to go the FOIA route. Okay, that's you're going to have to go through it like everybody else because that's just how it has to be done. Okay?
Right.
Do you understand in the same breath that he is telling, let's say, the Gonsalves family this, okay, which he is then saying in the same breath to the Mogan and the Chapin family, if you don't want this out, you're going to have to go and do this. How fucked up is that? That's literally what just happened. Over the past 3 weeks, you guys heard the Mogan and the Chapin family lawyer say, thank you for your guidance. Thank you, courts, for your guidance and everything.
Right.
You know what they're thinking? Do you know what that really meant there? They're asking people, hey, well, how would I go about doing this? Well, I don't want these out. Isn't there something that we can do? Well, yeah, you can do this. Just like, but you just told the Gonsalves family, if they want to get the reports and because they're like, we want to have all this stuff because you guys told us all these things, right? And we believed you. We believed you. So you told us to go and file the FOIAs to get all of this shit. And then you go and tell the other families, because this is what I was trying to say is Bill Thompson wrote checks that his ass could not cash, which is, I'm telling you, he told families that if we take this plea deal, okay, then it's going to cause you, this is going to end and this stuff isn't going to be happening and all this stuff's going to be easier. There's going to be no coming back and having appeals and all these things. And I'm telling you, one of the other things that he was talking about is this, what we heard last week. Yeah. But yet you're telling the other families that go get FOIA requests. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
I guarantee it. And
I know for a fact.
Yeah. I mean, as you were saying that, I'm like,
ask for some emails. Go get them. You'll get them.
I can picture that.
Ask for the prosecutor's emails. Go do a FOIA request.
Right. Well, we are
telling both families same, like opposite. And that's pitting them against each other.
It's not only pitting them against each other, but it's also just, it seems it's unfair. It just seems untruthful. It also isn't leaning into the fact that, again, for better or worse, it's gonna be a lot. You are a high profile case that is on world news. You can't stop the mainstream media. You can't stop the social media. You can't stop it. Like, so fighting it, you're almost like holding on to an electric fence and not letting go, right?
Mhm.
It's just like, that's what you're hoping is going to happen. But the public wants transparency, and it doesn't feel like we've gotten it. And ultimately, I believe that that is the reason for probably us even just sitting here right now having this conversation. And speaking of the internet, and remember what you had said in the beginning about how you have trolled our.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you heard of the dead internet theory for the tinfoil hat conspiracy of the day? Have you heard of this?
No, what is it? I can only imagine.
This is interesting. So there's a theory, and it's actually super popular, Lana, that 90% of the interactions you have on the internet are fake. Like, you're arguing with code. And this gained a lot of theory back in 2016 to 2019. Obviously, on Reddit, 4chan, Twitter, X users.
Like, are you talking about like bots? Like, I'm arguing with bots? Like,
yes. Yeah. And it's like conversations feel fake. There's repetitive comments. People are there, and they're saying it got terrible in 2016, 2019. Recycle conversations, low effort, high traffic posts. That's one that's always been weird to me, where it's like, how is this getting pushed? Like, is that profile literally a code profile that no human is running or interacting with? It's just scraping and then creating a profile and putting it out there, and it's getting boosted because who knows why. But a lot of people say that this was done to control the narrative, hide real dissent, because if you flood the web, let's say that we're all talking, like in general, we're all saying whether we agree exactly with what had happened in this case, at the end of the day, we're all saying that there should have been more transparency. The job could have been done better. The investigation should have been more smoothly. Who knows, right? It doesn't feel like it's very open source. And what the real purpose of the dead internet was to hide real dissent, because if you flood the web with bots that are a voice of reason, it makes people with a different opinion feel like they're being drowned out. They're getting ratioed, but it's not organic. It's all fake. And I totally feel that way sometimes when I see replies. I totally see that way. You go on TikTok. TikTok is a cesspool of bots. It's unbelievable. I can tell right away. It's user 976543221. No profile picture. One use. What? Yeah. And they're always the ones that are like, "Fuck you, Birdie," like some random shit like in my comments.
Well,
and
I'll tell you this. I know that people buy subscribers and buy likes and buy views and shit like that.
They do it from the bot farms, and they'll do it to push narratives too. You know that in their
and I just laugh.
I'm wild.
Like, people are like, "Lana, why don't you have more subs?" I'm like, because I don't buy my fucking subs. Because it's all authentic, man.
And
you know,
in general, you should never promote your stuff. You should never pay for ads, because the algorithm then will incentivize you to continue to pay for it. Okay, that happened. That happened to somebody that we know here in the Hive, and they were like, "Yeah." After doing some research, that's what happens. Like, wanted to promote one of their top performing videos, then killed their channel growth. I witnessed. So, in my other company, I witnessed when I was sitting at a meeting. We were discussing how are we going to market this. Okay, well, there's a social media influencer that was saying they will pay for it, not just likes, and they'll pay for comments.
Oh yeah,
they'll
comments.
It's crazy. And
comments.
It's
subscribe. Yeah, all of it. Like there's packages out there that you can buy. And so when I was outing a channel back in the day, that
fake channel or like
no, they claim themselves to be like a true crime channel.
Oh, okay.
And I took them down by myself with like 3,000 people. Like I'm like, you guys are fucking lying. You guys have fake sources. You guys know that they're fake sources. I was like, this is crazy. And you're buying all your subs and it's so obvious. So I'm going to show it all, how this is all happening. And I did. But
is it always the same subs that you could buy? Like, how funny would that be if like you see the same profiles that people are buying? Like every, that's fucked.
It's, I always ask myself, like, dude, you're putting work in and time in something. It's like, why don't you just like take the time and the energy that you're doing, and if you just put it over here and did this, like, you'd be amazed. But then I just realized, like, but you just can't talk about something that you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, for them to just
Yeah.
It's
It could even be deeper than that, Lana. It could
talentless
be,
fucks is what I say.
it could be
I
that.
got more talent than my motherfucking pinky bitch.
Yeah, it could be that. Absolutely. And I think there probably is a lot of that. I think it could also have a lot to do with the feeling of being fulfilled, being valued, the social cue that others may get when they see, oh, this person has X amount of followers, this person has that. And I think there's a real aspect of that. It's like, how many likes does your post get? And that weighs on people. You know what I'm saying? It's weird, but unfortunately it's the truth. I mean, I'm going to be fully transparent. If somebody sends me a TikTok and it has like 9 likes, I don't look to see if it was just posted most times. I'm just like, okay, this is probably not that good. But if I see something with like 38,000 likes, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
So it does affect it in a way. I don't know.
It's so for me, I think that I think everybody should have their own opinion. I don't care what it is in life. It's like, but just because I have my opinion, you have your opinion, like, why do people get like, oh my God, I'm gonna fucking kill you over that?
I
Like,
can't believe it.
Mad. I'm like, dude, okay, great. I think this, you think that, who gives a fuck?
Yes.
Like, it doesn't, like, what do you are wrong.
Yeah, they lose their minds.
I'm like, wait, actually, neither one of us are wrong, depending on what we're talking about. If we're just talking about what we think, you know, neither one of us are wrong because we don't know. But it's like, think about, do you always think about, fuck shit? I mean,
do you know
oh
what
my
drives
God.
me crazy?
You have like a wife or a husband. Do you guys get along with everything that you talk about? Like, that means somebody is lying.
Yeah, exactly. And what drives me bananas is when I see comments that are like the way that I run my stream, for example, where it's very obvious that this is conversation. I'm not even saying that I believe everything up here, but I'm putting the effort. I believe in the effort to have a conversation, open it up, think out loud. Who knows what's going to come to my mind? I'm being myself. If you and I were not streaming right now and we were just kicking it, I would be the same way.
Shit.
Yeah. So
I'd be saying the same shit.
But
that's why I'm just like, who cares if I think somebody's innocent and you think they're guilty? Okay, I rather know like more about like, hey, what do you think about something more specific? Like, why do you think that Dustin Blaker didn't write? I mean, he knows he has to write reports. Like, that's part of your job, and so that you could testify to something that you fucking did, so that the world believes you. Who's the jurors? Okay, so my question would just be like, why do you think he didn't write his reports?
Exactly, it's
like,
a question.
Do you think that that's okay? And I'm just like, if that person says that they think it's okay that he didn't write reports, then over here, like, dude, then you probably think it's okay for you to cheat on your wife or a husband. Like, that's just where, like, morally, I just think
it's just crazy. And the people that are like,
ethically and morally, we got some issues. But hey, okay, that's just, I mean, it's, you learn about people. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
But when you say, do I think someone's innocent or guilty? I'm like, who cares? Who cares if I think about that? I would want to know about, like, more of like, do I think that person got a fair trial? Yes, I do. You know, or no way they didn't get a fair trial.
And here's my reasons. And if I disagree with you, who cares? I can't believe the amount of
solid.
Yeah, bridges are burned, all that shit. Or exactly. It's like, fuck. I mean, you make a good point. Now, the other thing too is the people
I don't
that
think
are
Donna Adelson's getting a fair trial right now.
Who?
I don't think that Donna Adelson's getting a fair trial right now. But I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I don't think that it should have transpired in the same area that this case, like all of these cases had happened. I think that she should have been able to move the trial.
I mean, I remember laying in bed with my wife and we were watching the Karen Reed documentary before I knew shit about it. And I was looking at her demeanor. I'm like, this chick's guilty as hell. But again, that's like before the trial.
How do you feel about it now?
Of course, obviously. So it's like, but it is interesting because it's like, I did think about that. It's good perspective for like the Idaho 4.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I watched the documentary. Rub me the wrong way, whatever it is. But
I just would think that the Idaho would want to brag, or FBI would
put on the map, you mean?
Or like, I mean, all these people that did this great work, like, who can we give this credit to? Nobody wants the credit. The lab that fucking did the work doesn't want the credit. The genealogists don't want the credit. Nobody wants, hey, just don't mention me, or hey, I mean, I'm just like, what? Like, think about a sports game like that. Think about if we're watching football and nobody had last names on their jerseys. It's just,
it'd be wild.
It's crazy. Like, everybody wants that street credit, and that's good because that's personal pride. If you don't have personal pride, I question you.
You
Like
need to
I
be
take
proud
personal
of that.
pride. Like
Yes, and it's okay. You know what? It's also okay to be good at something and feel good about yourself and be confident that you're good at something. There is an aspect of society where it's normalized amongst family, friends, coworkers, whatever it is that, oh, you're good at it, you're cocky, you're arrogant, you're this. It's like, no, or maybe I just like have this thing called self-love and I don't hate myself and I'm proud of how hard that I've worked to get good at something. You know what I mean? It's very simple and you can typically tell who those people are or whatever it is. And rather than shitting on me for it, why don't you say, hey, let's get coffee. Can you tell me how I could apply this to what I'm trying to do? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Yes. 100. 100.
So-
Like, I mean, I completely agree. And I think someone just wrote something in chat about it, like to say like, yeah, I think that it's the bigger issue for me is we see all these cases where people are proud of like, hey, you know, we did this and this is how we did, and this is how we got this son of a bitch. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
And you just don't see that in this case. And I hate to say it is that two things can be true. Brian Colbert can be guilty, right? Admits it 100%, right? But it also can be true that our rights were violated, okay, for that to happen. And to me, that's what I believe happened in this case. Especially right now, he said he killed 4 people, guys. I mean, I know that I would never say that. I would think that somebody, you know, people can say, hey, like, oh, Lana, you're not autistic and you don't know what it's like to do that. Dude, I think he had a really good defense team. I know he had really, really good experts. He had
reasonable doubt.
He had 25 people, you know, that were experts that were retained right off the rip and on it like that. You know, I just know there's so many people out there that would have, I hate to say the word killed for lack of a better word, but killed for that.
Okay, is this real? Is this breaking right now? Sorry, Lana.
I have no idea. Tony writes
Tony,
wild stuff all the time.
Tony, I'm gonna have to clown horn you, Tony.
But yeah. So it's, you know, at the end of the day, two things can be true, and it's shocking if Brian Colbert is the killer. Okay, right? That, and knowing that he knows all this about criminal justice, and for Ann Taylor to possibly like say, yeah, this is your best bet. Like, yeah, this is my advice. I mean, again, I don't know if he asked for her advice. We don't know how it truly went down, but I do not believe how fucking Bill Thompson says it went down. I don't believe anything that Bill Thompson says. Okay.
Yeah, I don't either.
I believe Ashley Jennings completely lied. I think you just have to read the documents and you can see that there was prosecutorial misconduct. There was, I believe our rights were violated. They did not have probable cause the way that they said it. They lied about that. They knew that the phone did not turn off at 2:47 like they said. They knew that it turned off at 2:56. They had to say 2:47 because they wanted to put the car and the phone on that white car that was on Nevada. Right. Come on, man. This is crazy.
It is crazy. And I enjoy personally, like, I like having people onto the stream. I like talking to people. Don't get me wrong. I like hosting solo too, but it's like, it is interesting because I want to engage in a conversation. That's what I like to do in real life. And
yeah,
there's a lot of shit that people say in real life too, where I'm thinking to myself, like, you know what? I'm just gonna bite my tongue on that because I think that's the most stupid shit I've ever heard. But I will guarantee you, in the same sense, there's something that has come out of my mouth where you've thought that same thing. It's called conversing. And I think to your point, what you just did very simply, like a minute ago, you just backed right into, here is a reasonable explanation as to why they could have done it. And you've looked at the documents, you've done that, but just wait, Lana. There's a troll farm that's waiting to tell you that they're going to get your page taken down for misinformation because Brian is so guilty and there's a mountain of evidence against him, and you are victim shaming.
I don't know. I usually don't get that.
I'm joking, but you get my point.
Yeah, no,
I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that conversing about things is healthy. You know,
I do too.
I think leaving your bed is healthy. I think
making
going outside is healthy.
Touch grass. Walk barefoot.
I think that I'm telling you guys, the criminal justice system, I know it. I've studied it. That's what my education background is. And you do not want to be coming out of an appeal to try to get your day. Like, that is fucking hell. Okay. It's hell. Like, the post-conviction stages and phases of our criminal justice system, they suck. It sucks. Yeah. Okay. I believe that Ann Taylor set up things that if he would have went all the way through and had a trial, okay, that he would have been set up for some really interesting appeals had he been convicted. Okay. But where he's at right now, and people saying, oh, he only said he did it because of X, Y, and Z. Awesome. It doesn't matter what you think about that. What matters is that if you think somebody's going to appeal, whoever the fuck it is, it doesn't. In our criminal justice system, it is a fucking uphill battle like you would not believe. Okay? Especially something as high profile as this. Like,
right.
It is ridiculously going to be, if you want to put your time into something, take the time to email these different departments and ask for documents that you think exist. Like, get off your ass and do something. You can literally do something. It does not take that. It's not that difficult. If you guys want me to have a FOIA 101 class, I will show you how to do it. It's literally not that difficult at all. And you can request something literally per day. And if you're going to be digging through documents, that's what it takes, because you read a document. Oh, well, the question that you have about that document, turn it into a FOIA. Okay. But if you truly believe in Brian Culber's innocence, then do something about it. And that's not the comment section of videos. That's just not, if you truly want to do something about it, you can support movements or whatever, but hey, put your fucking money where your mouth is. That's what I say.
It's with anything. It's in your community. It's, if it's your kid's school, go try to get on the school board, try to do all that. And that's well said. And Lana, thank you so much for popping into the Hive this evening. It was great to have you here.
Yes, you went all the way to, you said about an hour and 30 to 2 hours.
2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was great. It's a great conversation.
What was the, I forgot to ask you, can you go back to 2 slides? I want to ask you one thing about, which one was it? Oh, what did your people think about the floors? What are we all in the same
this picture?
No.
This one.
Did you do like a poll for that? Like, did they think
that?
No,
let's do it.
Let's do a
poll.
Do you guys agree that
type of 1 if you think that we were told the truth about DM's room, type of 2 if we may be being lied to it. That body cam muting is odd. Is that what you were asking, Lana, just to clarify?
Well, yeah, I just, in the beginning, they told us that both of the roommates had slept downstairs and nobody was ever upstairs, all that stuff.
What do you think about like the stuff being found in that empty bedroom? Kind of scattered.
Yeah, there was a bed in there. That pink jacket, that pink and green jacket was in there that had blood on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Ann Taylor filed for withholding evidence against. And
so the question is that now that we know that there was a bed down there, is did the officers come across something where they're like, hey, Dylan, did you sleep downstairs that night?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I know that her bedroom is 100% on the second floor. 100% know that. But it's like, where did Dylan sleep that night? There's a lot of speculation on that, and there's a lot of speculation as to what that room was potentially used for. But yeah, I just go ahead. I'm sure. Have you done like a live about that? I'll have to go watch it. About the what shit? About her about what them saying that they use it as an office down there. I haven't gone fully into that theory on a live. It's definitely been something that I've seen some other content put out. The thing that has been very interesting to me to see that I wanted to talk about was the complete shift that I've personally seen, and people are now pointing right back at Dylan.
it was like in the beginning, it was kind of at Dylan a lot. And now it's like,
Mhm.
I would say it's more than that. There's really nobody that can make a good argument looking back and looking at the process of this case as to maybe why some things were said. Now we see all of the statements. I would like to dive into more of how different would this case look if you take Dylan out completely? What would we not know? What would we not speculate on? And would the timeline be different? And I don't know if it's just kind of one of those exercises I think is interesting to do, but.
Well, I think we know that there wasn't a firecracker. And so what made Bethany call Dylan? Bethany could have called anybody, right?
Right.
She's downstairs. Why did she call Dylan? Think about that. If Dylan was the first person that went to bed, according to Bethany, Dylan went to bed and they go outside to let the Murphy out and then she comes back, whatever. Why did she call Dylan? Why was that her first call versus, Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, Maddie? Why? Because everything, remember, I love where your head's at with this because I'm telling you, the cops basically fucked Dylan, in my opinion. And that's what happened. But Bethany puts it all in motion. Bethany sets the timeline. How do we know that Bethany didn't get in the car that drove away?
Well, we should do this again. We should do this again.
Yeah.
And we should actually, that would be really interesting. We should both, like, before the live, prep what we think it would look like as far as the timeline without Dylan and without Bethany in it. And just, even if we just did a certain time frame of like this part of the night till, that. So Hive, thank you to everybody that did tune in.
You.
Yes. The best way to support the stream is just press subscribe. Lana, you were awesome. Thank you for coming on to the Hive. It was a great conversation. And
thank you. Thank your mods. I appreciate your mods. Appreciate everybody in chat. Sorry, I was paying attention to what we were doing. Again, thank you so much. Birdie, always a pleasure. You're a good ass dude. Cheers. See you later. But yes, let's talk. I would love to do the DM BF because my theory is after everything I've read, Bethany puts this all in motion.
Well, let's do it. I will send you an email and let's get something on the books. So with that, Hive, I hope everybody has a great night. Cheers. Take care, everybody.
Out.
Thanks, Lana.
Thank you.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.